Welcome to another episode of Into the West Comics. I'm Paul, and today we got Shane and Donovan.
Yeah.
And they're going to be debating some stuff again, as we've been doing on a pretty weekly basis over here.
Best
Yeah,
believe.
get in position, Donovan. What are you doing? So this week there was some pretty there was some pretty seismic activity in the DC extended universe world, and we finally got it. James Gunn is the head of DC. Now that comes with a whole load of baggage and what he's done and what he is going to do possibly. And I wanted to get Shane and Donovan's take on what characters he should focus on and what his vision on those characters should be. And I'm going to start with Donovan. Go ahead.
So they did the first thing right in DC as far as who do they start with this whole universe? You got to start with Superman first. To me, Superman is the peak of what hope is supposed to look like for a world. He represents a guy who is freeing people who have been tortured and torn apart by society and the world, and he is the hope that is offered to people. And that's the beautiful thing. I have already co-written my whole deal about how I would love for this DC universe to start. Mm-hmm. You started off with Superman. You don't go too crazy with the origin like we did in Man of Steel. We understand that he comes from Krypton. Jonathan and Martha can't raise him from a little boy because he came in a basket, and here we are. He's our modern day Moses for comic books. Like, we get it.
It's true.
We get it.
Super Moses, yes.
So we have him there, but this is this is how you introduce this universe. So what's at stake here? You have him going to the Daily Bugle for the first time, getting everything ready, and who's the president of the United States?
Luthor.
Lex Luthor. Yes. Lex Luthor is the president of the United States at this time. And you start to see he has control over everything. So much so that, like, extraplanetary stuff, that makes sense now. There are other threats that are coming. Only Lex Luthor knows about it. But instead of saying, no, we're going to fight this off, like, no, let's see what happens.
Right.
Because these people are going to need me when something goes bad. But lo and behold, we don't have just Lex Luthor. We have Superman that's in the wings waiting for this moment to happen, and it totally ruins everything for him. It's for me, it's the classic trope. That's how you set things up, is there are people in this world who want to see the world destroyed because they believe they're the ones who are going to be the saviors for it, and people are going to, for lack of a better term, be a supply and demand for Lex Luthor. They're going to need me because I'm the only one who has the answers.
Right.
Meanwhile, Superman totally negates all of that. So how do you introduce other characters? Well, you do it in flashbacks where Clark can't be on the football team, and he's loading up waters on the sideline, and all of a sudden this defensive back from Gotham High School comes crashing into him, bumps into him, and he's just yacked out and he's yoked, and you see Wayne on the back of it. And he's like, oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. And he fixes his glasses, and it's Bruce Wayne. He plays defense for the Gotham High School football team, and the coach only has him do one thing. Sack the quarterback. That's it. That's all you're doing because he wants to get him all that anger out. Like, you see that happen. Yeah. So it's Bruce Wayne. So then you see that, and then you see Alfred in the stands watching Bruce get back up, and then him looking at Superman again, looking at Clark Kent like with a closer eye. Like, that's all you need. Just those little flashes of brilliance. And then at the end of the Superman movie, after all this stuff done, like a post-credit scene, you do Nick Fury, but the Nick Fury for this is Batman. So you have Bruce waiting in the dark, rather, and then you have Clark coming in through maybe his window, and he's taking a breath, and he takes a deep breath, and then all of a sudden you hear, "How can I help you, Bruce?" And all of a sudden you see walking from the dark, you see the cape and cowl walking from the dark, and it cuts to black. Yeah. That's how you introduce something. You go, oh my gosh, they're connected. Okay, great. We know enough. We got all the Superman we could possibly get in this movie. That's fine. And then you do the same thing with the other characters. You see Diana Prince, and maybe
so you don't want origin movies. You want introduction movies.
I want,
if you will.
We don't need origin movies on Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. We just don't need them. At this point, we understand them. And that's why I think the Tom Holland Spider-Verse does very well. We didn't get an origin story. We didn't get him being bit by the spider.
That was the best
and
thing about
him going through all of that. We understand that he's bit by a spider. We understand that Bruce's parents. How many times we got to watch Bruce's parents die again? How many times we got to see pearls and popcorn in the street? Like enough. We've seen enough of it.
Pearls and popcorn.
In a tuxedo and a ball gown.
We get it. We've seen all the imagery.
It's tragic. Okay.
My question for Shane is, so you hear what Donovan wants to have happen with the Gunn verse, if you will. Mm-hmm. Do you think with Gunn's track record as how he tells story, is he capable of telling a compelling story in that way that isn't going to be goofy?
No, it's going to be a goofball situation if Gunn gets a hold of this type of thing. That's the thing about Donovan. He's so brilliantly thought out. But there is no way in God's green earth that James Gunn is going to do any of that. It's
and there's no way in God's green earth that anyone's hiring me anytime soon. So I don't know if I'm.
Should have hired Donovan instead of Gunn.
I mean, I'm curious. The thing I'm most curious about is are they going to focus at all after all this the 9-hour Snyder version of Justice League? Are we going to see Flash and Cyborg ever again in that same kind of way? Can they do that?
I would argue that Cyborg was the best part of Zack Snyder's
Justice League.
I was most impressed by that character more than anything. That was the character I felt for the most.
Yeah, it was just brilliant storytelling for as far as Cyborg was concerned. But can we get more of that type of thing from James Gunn, where he takes Cyborg and look at Marcus over there is going, what are they saying?
So
Cyborg.
What? So do you, Shane,
pardonnez-moi?
Do you think we're going to run into with with Snyder? It was a little overly serious all the time. With Gunn, you're afraid it's going to be a little too lighthearted all the time?
Yes, all the time. Because when something, especially nowadays, when something works, like even if it works even a little bit, they have a tendency to hit us over the head with it. And I think that as well as Peacemaker was made, and I thought Peacemaker, I think that's where you take that character. And I think for the first Guardians of the Galaxy, I think they had the perfect mix. But the second one, it was kind of over the top.
Right.
I think they're going to try to do the exact same thing. I think Gunn's going to do the same thing.
Well, that's where I kind of have my concern with Gunn. He's never had a real big property before. Right. Guardians of the Galaxy before
it's always
what
secondary,
it was very small. Peacemaker. Can anybody tell me who Peacemaker was before this?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Suicide Squad was the same deal. Yes, we got it before.
This is huge. Yeah.
And what's his name? I always forget his name.
Who?
The guy who directed the first Suicide Squad movie. David Ayer. So we had that one, but then we got his version in which we were introduced to Polka Dot Man, which is a real deep cut in the Flash comics. So again, he likes these really weird, quirky, not well-known characters.
Because it's easy to shape them and mold them into the characters.
Right, and then even with the popular guys in Peacemaker, he totally made fun of them.
Right.
Like, why don't you go F a fish? You know what I mean? With Aquaman. And then we don't even see Superman or Wonder Woman talk, and Batman doesn't even show up. So, I don't know. I'm kind of with you as far as like being very like goofy, like, but at the same time, like, what's he going to do with Batman? What is James Gunn going to do with Batman and Superman? That's my biggest question. And Wonder Woman.
So I'll start with Shane and then go to Donovan to finish up. What event do you think Gunn will build to and will be the first big event of the Gunniverse?
That is a really
What do you think he can handle well and do well?
Man, that's a good question.
We could throw it to Donovan if you
Crisis
Donovan.
on Infinite Earths.
Yeah. You think he's going to tackle that?
I think they're going to try. I don't think they have anything else that they can hang their hat on as far as sagas are concerned. Like a major saga? Yeah. I mean, because they tried with Darkseid, and maybe DC, there's a very big possibility that Warner's is like, we tried Darkseid. We're going to move on from that.
Yeah. Right.
So I think they're going to do either Crisis on Infinite Earths or who knows? Honestly, who knows?
That is a tough one.
That's a tough one to find because Marvel's a little more distinct. Like you understand what's going on with all these big. I don't know, Paul. What do you guys think? What's a team up that they could lead up to?
I think he could do Crisis on Infinite Earths well. I think his goofiness lends to that. I think that's a goofy comic. It's 60 years old. It's not 60 years old. It's close to that though. It's like 40 years old. But or Rock of Ages,
Because
do
look
Dark
at-
Side right.
Yeah, but maybe he's got to set these characters right. Is the main thing, and the thing he should be focused on immediately is setting
And do you
some
think
of
he
these
can do that?
characters right. Can James Gunn set major characters right? Yeah, I think he can do it.
Will he do it?
Will he do it is the question, or is he just going to start from scratch and just make Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 all the time?
And to finish up with Donovan, do you think that James Gunn will be able to bring
Pull
these
this
characters
off.
back to what the fans want?
Yeah,
I hope so. I don't know. I just don't know.
Too
I
many
think
questions
the only proof that we have is Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, and those so far have been the best thing that DC has done in a really long time. So I am hopeful for it, but I just don't know.
That's
I
what they
really
are counting
don't know
on.
because we don't. I mean, yeah, Henry Cavill's back. Great, fantastic. We love Henry Cavill. Who's going to be our Batman?
Right. Well, who's that? Cavill said what? What was that quote Cavill said?
It's going to be bright and happy or something.
bright
like
and
that.
happy.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, All-Star Superman is one of the best Superman stories of all time, and it's bright and wonderful and beautiful. But
is it goofball?
right, but how goofball are we going to make this? Like, you can't goofball Batman. The only time we
can't.
ever goofball Batman is when
Adam
he's
West.
yeah, pow bang. The only time we've ever seen Batman be really
Batman and
goofy
Robin.
is if he's with his family. If he's got all of his
Right.
Robins and he's teasing, Dick Grayson, or he's teasing Damian or one of his boys. Like if he's teasing one of them and smiling out of the side, like he says, that's the only goofy we really get from Batman whatsoever. And then, Diana,
Right.
Wonder Woman,
She's very
don't know.
she's a Greek goddess. Like,
She could be Drax.
Oof.
but there's that possibility. Like, you worry that she might be a
Oof.
Drax type character. Like, I've been standing here for an hour. Like, is she going to be a big dodo dummy? Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not, because I think the woke mob might come after DC if they're like, they made a woman stupid, like, which is like, all right, guys, like that's not what they did. But then we got, they introduced Jon Stewart's going to be Green Lantern, right? That they're going to stick with Jon Stewart. I think that's great.
That's great.
So do we get No Hal Jordan as well?
Yeah.
Do you know what I
That's
mean?
Another question.
We'll see.
No, how
Right.
Jordan
So
now.
we and then do
I
we get?
think Gunn could do Jordan really well. Unfortunately, we
Oh man, I
run out
going.
of time.
No.
I think this is something we will definitely be coming back to. It's something we're going to be talking about for a long time until the first one comes out. Again, thank you, Shane, and thank you, Donovan.
Thank you.
A little
Thank
more
you,
civil
everybody.
than it has been the past couple weeks.
Yeah, I
But,
came to
Yeah.
fisticuffs
maybe
last
that's my
time.
presence. I don't know. Sonny will be back and you guys will want to fight again. Not that you want to fight, but thanks for checking us out. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everybody.